Hey, you ready?
Yes. At last. I just need the Force essence of two youthful, beautiful Force users. And then my 36-year-long plan to take over the universe with a podcast will be completed!
Put some coffee.
What? Oh yes, this will be nice. That'll work too. That's fine. That's actually easier. Wow, where were you when I needed this in the beginning?
Let's record a podcast.
Hello, Herd, and welcome to another episode of the Herd Main Show, the first of the new year. I'm your Herd Leader, John Wayne.
And I'm your herd mom, Megan.
Yes.
You better? You
Yes.
feeling better?
Yes, I am much better.
Okay.
I have my Dark Side Dark Roast coffee. Good and ready for what's
and ready.
next. Good and ready.
No children being sucked to the life from today.
Tastes like Force Dyad. Yes, much better.
None for me. I'm gonna force diet.
Now that we're finally on the other side of all of the chaos and craziness.
Ooh, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's 2 months.
Yeah. We've been busy, but
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, it's just a combination of ridiculous feelings because we fully intended to be able to plow through Christmas. Like, we knew we were going to be busy. We knew it was going to be crazy because it's nothing new to us.
yeah.
But, we were like, well, you know what? This is the podcast is a priority for us.
Yes.
We're going to do this. And that didn't waver. It was still a priority, but it just got to the point where it's just like everything else just swallowed.
Yeah.
And, in anything, and before we've made the call of like, hey, if we do something, it's going to be crap. Let's wait to when we can, recharge and do this right.
Yeah.
We've done that before. This was not that.
No, this was...
Well, it was, but it was long, like 2 months. It was a 2 months, hey, we're not going to have it.
It was a hiatus. It wasn't a break.
Yeah,
I guess.
It was unintentional.
Oh,
We had plans for every episode of a lot of stuff. We were going to do individual breakdowns of every Mando episode, of Jedi Fallen Order gameplay, of we were going to do our right after we watched The Rise of Skywalker, kind of reaction. We had plans for everything. And it just kind of got overtaken pretty what's the word,
Pretty handily by our life.
Yeah. We were I can't remember what, I think it was when we saw The Rise of Skywalker where you were like, wow, that's the most time we spent together.
Really?
Like when we went and saw The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And it was busy, it was crazy, but there's also a lot of victories and wins and beautiful moments and memories of that time. So even though we were away from something that we love so much, like the podcast, it's not all miserable. We're not trying to make it sound like, oh, woe is us, but
No.
It's just that we had to prioritize certain things during that time. And so anytime we're out of routine with the podcast is super weird.
It's incredibly weird, and coming back to it is a relief.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's very weird.
It's weird because you're used to doing this on a regular basis, and all of a sudden you're not doing it. And even though you're busy with other things, once you finally sit down to stop and like, oh, all right, let's work on this. Let's work on the first month of 2020 of the podcast. And, it's just like...
For a minute there we were
cow.
like, what do we do?
It's just so weird. We're married. We've been married. We just celebrated 5 years. That's why, part of why, as we'll talk about later, we went to Galaxy's Edge.
We went to Disney.
Well, for Galaxy's Edge.
We went to Galaxy's
and to
Edge.
celebrate our out-of-this-world marriage.
Gross.
When you've been together for 5 years, when you've been married 5, together 7, any change of routine. Like, you know, I've talked before, I'm a useless baby man when you are gone for more than like 7 hours.
You really are.
I don't know what to do at home by myself. I mean, we have a puppy now, so that's helpful, which we had cats, but cats are very independent. But
Yeah.
like, it's really weird when I'm not used to being home alone.
Yeah.
And our schedules being different, sometimes that happens. And at first I didn't know what to do. And that's kind of like what this was with the podcast, is this just this time of like, okay, we've been doing this for a year and a half and pretty regularly, and then all of a sudden not. And now coming back, it's weird, but it's also really nice and refreshing because luckily we had social media to keep us engaged and connected to everybody. Otherwise, I feel like it'd be even weirder kind of stepping back into the bubble. But,
Yeah.
you know, all the time there's only so much you can do on social media. So a big part of the podcast is the conversations and the interactions that we get from the episodes and the discussions. So not having that component, but having so much to say because there's been so much Star Wars stuff.
So much stuff.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And how dare Star Wars not consult us in our lives,
Honestly.
you know,
Rude.
to see if it was, you know, inviting itself into our hearts at the appropriate time. Because otherwise we would have asked them to wait till January.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and so that's part of why this episode is going to be very, it's as much a look back as a look forward in terms of we're kind of condensing everything we wanted to do to a point to this big conversation.
Yes.
And sure, there's plans for extending the conversations further from here, but we kind of just wanted, like, we had to just address the fact, like, I mean, originally our first episode back was going to be immediately, let's talk about The Rise of Skywalker, because oh my gosh.
That didn't happen.
But yeah, because it was just like, wait, there's so much other stuff that also happened at the exact same time. You know, when are we going to fit that in? And so we figured, okay, well, let's start there. And then, so next week we're going to be doing a full Rise of Skywalker discussion. If you've seen on social media, we've been asking for people's input, their opinions, their questions, their likes, their dislikes, all of it respectfully. Respectfully.
Y'all opinionated.
Yes, Star Wars fans in general
Yeah.
are ridiculous about The Rise of Skywalker, as they are with most Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. We'll talk about that next time.
But, yeah, that's a big part of the conversation. You can't talk about The Rise of Skywalker without talking about the discourse of The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
And so we knew that was going to be a big, heavy, one-point conversation. And so we would have no room to address every other great thing that happened. And so...
I watched The Witcher. We wouldn't be able to talk about that.
Yeah, we did that. We did.
It was great.
We did that on New Year's break. And so...
And then passed out.
Yeah. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that deep dive of The Rise of Skywalker next week. So if you haven't hit us up on social media, or if you have and since have had other things added to your list of, oh, I want to talk about that, definitely hit us up, let us know, because we will be going over certain comments. It's not quite a Q&A. It's more of just I mean, you can ask questions, but it's also just share what you think and add that to the conversation, because we want to talk about not just the film, but the context around the film. And that's what's that's what divides us, honestly, is the context. It's not just the movie, but it's how that movie reflects our personal journeys, our personal opinions, our likes and dislikes of certain character choices and everything. You know, that's why we feel the way we feel. It's because of us and our journeys. And so we want to be respectful of that and invite as much of that as we can into the conversation. We don't want to, I mean, it's our podcast, so we could just make it our opinions, but we want to be as open as possible because, you know, we constantly say, and if you're a recent convert to the herddom, the big point of the podcast is we have these conversations. This is us. We started this podcast because we always do this. Why not share it? Because really, until we started the podcast, we've actually discovered more people in our immediate life that we can have these conversations with, but for the most part, that's non-existent, or it was at the time. Yeah. So, but this has opened so many doors to be able to build communities around conversations of likes of Star Wars and celebrating Star Wars and focusing on the positive things that we love, and that's the point. And so inviting you guys into the conversation for next week's episode is just a big part of that. And so we're constantly asking for input and whatnot for episodes. And if you've heard us preach it and haven't decided to yet, consider sharing. We'd love to feature all of that stuff. So
yeah.
But I mean, other than that, our main thing is just that we want this year to be a lot more consistent. We want to make more time for the podcast because it is such a priority for us. It's something we love. It's therapeutic. And like I already mentioned, we have so many friendships and communities because of it. There's a lot of good it does for us.
Yeah.
And so we want to continue to build on that, make it stronger. And part of that is more consistency from our part. So we're prioritizing it more than we have before in terms of, we're really making time to make sure that what we're putting out and what we're doing is the best it can be.
Yes.
And because the idea is the better it can be, the more people can be in the herd, basically.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, we liked Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, we did.
So, a big thing that happened in the last couple of weeks is I went to Disney World. He went to Galaxy's Edge. It wasn't just, a Galaxy's Edge trip. But that took up a lot of it. Because, don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved it. But I like Disney as a whole.
Yeah, and I do too. I don't take away from that. But, it was a dual thing. We knew we wanted to do something special. It was our anniversary. And one of the easiest things for us to decide to do to enjoy ourselves and to escape is Disney.
Yeah.
And we knew that Galaxy's Edge would be fully operational at that point. We would have the Rise of Skywalker, or the Rise of the Resistance, and Smuggler's Run, and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And for us, we went to Disney World in Florida. So for us, Galaxy's Edge has been open quite a while, and so the traffic was better than it would have been if we'd gone when we wanted, really.
Yeah. Once the park is open and people are moving in and out of it, there's really not that much of a crowd.
Yeah, it's definitely that initial wave, and it's up to you. You've got to decide if you're into the big features and the attractions and everything, then you've got to be there with the crowd, and you've got to wait it out, and you've got to
it's a lot of waiting.
Yeah, you've got to do your part. Luckily they build in a lot for you to enjoy as well. It is connected to a major parks. It's connected to Hollywood Studios, so if for some reason you're nonplussed about the details, you want the rides of Galaxy's Edge, you can just go over and enjoy other rides while you wait and everything. But it's just up to you and what you want your experience to be, for sure.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel boxed into, I have to be there before it opens and I have to be in. You don't have to.
Yeah.
It just, if you want to experience Rise of Skywalker, or gosh dang it, all these rises.
Rise of the Resistance.
If you want to experience that, you got to be there at the butt crack of dawn.
Yeah.
And then some.
We got there at 5 a.m. Yeah,
the first day we got there at 5 a.m. It's not as bad as it sounds.
No. It was just waiting.
Yeah, we waited. They opened the park for admission at 6:30. Yeah. And despite what you're thinking and what you check, if you're planning to go to Disney World, and I believe I've seen that it's the same for Disneyland, there is an unofficial opening time. Yes, they open. Now, the park still does not open until 7. So we got in at 6:30. We still had to wait until 7 for it to be open.
Yes.
But we were inside. Mm-hmm. So it's really more of an admission or a check-in. It's not that you're fully in there. So you don't get a better chance necessarily. It's just
not
that
at all. As long as you're there at 7.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. So with the check-in system of Rise of Resistance, it's a virtual queue. It's a very new process, but essentially all you have to do is be in the park at 7 o'clock, open the Disney Park app, and decide, you go through this. I'm not going to be your tech guru and tell you all that. But you have the app ready, and at 7 you hit join a party.
Yes.
Once you do that, you're in. You're guaranteed pretty much if you hit it at 7.
Pretty much.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean... Yeah.
There's a lot of people doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. So you could be in queue...
You have to... If you get there early, you're in the park at 6:30, you're on the app at 7, you're pretty well guaranteed to get in.
Yeah.
If you get there when the park opens, try to get checked in, and then get on the app right at 7, then more than likely you're going to be in the subgroups that don't get in.
Yeah.
It's literally just that easy. Just get there. Even if you got there at 6.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the check-in process takes about 15 minutes with the crowd that we had. So
yeah.
Even if you're there at 6, you'll still be in early enough that you're in advance of checking into a Rise boarding party. It's literally that easy, folks. It was so easy. We did it twice.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time it was intentional. The second time it was literally just because I was like, hey, we're here early. Let's see what can happen. And I still got in.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was literally that easy. And so my main thing is if you want to do it, it's not as hard as you think.
No.
It's well worth it. Absolutely.
It's so worth it.
I mean, it's Star Wars. Take away the Star Wars, it's still one of the best rides.
It's a fantastic ride
at Disney as a whole, because it takes so much Imagineering of every one of their best and most memorable and successful rides,
and just
makes it into just this amazing glob of Star Wars joy.
Think of every iconic ride at Disney if you've ever been. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's got...
Yes, it's there.
And this is the beautiful stuff of new Disney, where it's taking so much from what's been developed and learned and done in the past well. And that's such a Star Wars thing in general of take from the past what was good and well done, build on it, and what wasn't, make something new. And that's essentially what this ride does. And that's just in principle. That's just metaphorical stuff. Then you actually get into the technical stuff. You actually get into what goes on the ride, and it's phenomenal. It is amazing.
Yeah. And before we talk more about Galaxy's Edge, spoilers for the ride.
Well, what I will say is I don't actually want to yet. I want to give some time because it just opened at Disneyland. I want to give some time. I want to keep I want to keep it to non-spoilers.
Yeah.
And what I'll say is I took video of pretty much the entire second trip. The first one was literally we were pretty
just
adamant.
Experiencing.
Yeah, we were pretty we caught some key moments, but we were like, let's focus on not staying on capture mode and camera mode, and let's enjoy this as us.
That's why we spent 2 days in the park.
Right. And so day 2 was, all right, now this is Nerd Herder Day. This is details. This is capturing.
This is puns.
Yeah. So
insert puns here.
You know, I didn't know I was gonna run into my ex here.
The second time around, I took video throughout the ride of Rise of Resistance, and so I'm going to make that a separate video that you can, if you want to, check out and watch the full ride through of and everything. And we might even add on to that our feeling, like, you know, I mainly I want to keep that experience as pure as possible. We avoided spoilers as much as possible. I mean,
we did not
pretty
watch
much
ride
all
through.
in all. All I knew was that James Arnold Taylor played Lieutenant Beck, the Mon Cala pilot of the mission. We knew that
we were going to see an AT-AT.
We knew we were going to see an AT-AT. We knew we were going to see Kylo Ren.
And that was it.
I'm pretty sure that's all we knew. Everything you saw in the trailers, obviously, but those were the main details.
Everying you saw in the trailers.
Everything you see in the trailers.
It's amazing.
No, actually not.
Well,
not because it's the one thing that I hate about that ride.
I know. And
yes, I just said that, but it's really trust me, it's a petty thing. It's not a serious thing.
But the majesty
of
being in that that area.
And so I mean I want to make sure not for the sake of us. If you get that somewhere else, you can get that somewhere else.
Yeah.
But from our perspective, you're going to go in pure because it's
so beautiful.
It was so great
It's so
just
perfect.
realizing things like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Oh my gosh. And like you're just...
Yeah. It was like what I would say was the Freddie Prinze Jr. moment at
right,
Celebration,
just
where you you stop and you're like, oh my god, that's Freddie Prinze Jr. or oh my god, that's that thing.
And I mean, there is a joy of, oh, I know this thing is happening. Oh, and there it is.
Yeah.
But there's a very different, from our perspective, joy in
Being
I don't know what's happening. Oh my gosh, what's that? Like, both great moments, both really awesome. But we prefer going in pure and experiencing that. So
yeah.
And that's as non-spoiler grade as I can get. It's amazing. It's well worth the ride. You've gotten my tips and tricks for doing it. Honestly, it's not... I mean, I was so anxious. I mean, I definitely would have been affected the entire trip if we had not gotten to do it.
It was incredible.
I'm not trying to make because a lot of people have been... We were standing next to one guy that was, chomping on people for saying that they were legit upset. They missed the chance to get into this ride. And you've got to understand, if that's somebody's only day there, there's not a second chance. You can't just get there at 11 a.m. and try, or 3 p.m. And here's the thing. There's not a lot of details officially on how to do it. We were lucky enough. We've had several friends that have done it, and we reached out and asked for help. If you don't have that option... and you just try like a normal ride, you miss out. And it can be, from my perspective, it was a big deal. It was
an incredibly big deal. It was that and Smuggler's Run. That were the two biggest deals of this entire trip.
The benefit is Smuggler's Run, you can put up with a long wait and you can do it.
But the wait is fantastic.
It's really good. It learned from the Pandora stuff. It's very interactive. It's very immersive, and that's helpful. More space. Yeah, it's a lot more space. It's very comfortable.
Yeah.
Honestly, the first time we did it was a 120-minute wait.
Which
wasn't bad,
honestly.
But then the next day, we went in with 65.
Yeah.
And it ended up being like 45. Once you go all the way through. Now.
And you got to pilot.
Yes. Now though, that 45 quickly. No, that wasn't it. That was my second. Right. No, it was. Well, yeah. I mean, I got to pilot on that. I was thinking of so the second day I did Rise of Resistance, it broke down.
Yes.
And there was just a delay. It was a 45-minute delay, and Chewbacca came out and greeted people, and they passed out snacks. It was really cool. Yeah. They were very quick. They were very, deep. Like they were expressing to everyone exactly what was going on. So
that's that Disney magic.
Oh my gosh, it was so great.
And Chewbacca came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, just right around the corner and just like, oh hey. And he liked our Nerd Herder shirt, which was really cool because of the Falcon. We also got to meet Chewbacca again and get a great because my other mother loves Chewbacca.
Yes.
She's constantly wishing we would kidnap him from Disney, but I don't have that kind of money. Yeah, I can't bail myself out of jail. So, but we met him with the intentions. We sent her a nice message, and that was cool. And I mean, a lot of the rest of it was just all. We'd done it, and Galaxy's had great food.
Fantastic food.
We built lightsabers.
We did do that.
This is yours. You have seen them if you check out our social media. So you made this one.
It is the Elemental Power?
Nature.
Elemental Nature. And
I was gonna say, great. Okay, Luke Skywalker.
It's great. I love it so much. It's very wooden.
I did Peace and Justice. Originally, I was gonna do Power and Control. But I like the part options for this one much better.
Yeah.
And then we also got holocrons, Jedi and Sith, and we got all the kyber crystals. So we've got all the message options.
Yes.
It's one of those things where it can be so childish. It's really fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's actually really interesting when you're playing through with this and hearing the messages of prominent Jedi and Sith and all this stuff. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, an adult building a lightsaber. Yeah. I'll give you. A holocron thing. That was one I was a little I wasn't sure how gimmicky it would be.
Yeah.
Turned out to be really fun, really cool.
But still gimmicky, but great.
Oh yeah, it pays off.
We found out that the Sith holocron is Count Dooku's holocron, and yours is is it Yoda?
Which one did I get for this? Well, we got all of them. Yeah. So my custom comes with the purple crystal.
I lied. We didn't get when you put the red kyber crystal into the Sith holocron, it plays Count Dooku's message. But when it has no kyber crystal in it, it plays Darth Bane's message.
Yeah, it's just straight Sith. The Jedi one, no kyber crystal, is just Obi-Wan.
Yes.
If you put blue in, what was blue?
Blue is Yoda. No.
Green is Yoda.
Green is Yoda.
I think blue is just more Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Oh, it's old Obi-Wan.
Yes.
And then white is Ahsoka.
Yeah. Purple is Mace Windu.
Of course. Yellow is...
Yeah. Yellow was, what was yellow?
I don't remember.
We're gonna have to do it.
Yeah, we'll have to check. I might edit in. And then we bought a red crystal. Yes. No, you got one with your saber.
I got one with my saber. We were given one.
By
a friend.
By chance. If you're watching, listening, however.
Hi, Chance.
Hi, thank you.
A friend who we met at Galaxy's Edge.
We made a day trip friend at Galaxy's Edge, and it was awesome. And we were just shopping together, and then all of a sudden just ended up spending the whole day together, and it was really great. And for our troubles, we were gifted.
He gave me a red kyber crystal.
Yeah, and that's the Dooku one.
Yes, that was the Dooku one.
And so we have a spare red one.
The reason we ran into each other is because we were waiting in line at Doc-on-Dar's, because that's how you have to wait in order to look at the legacy sabers.
Yeah, if you get there in the beginning, you can get in, no problems, do whatever you want.
Yes.
If you get there about 9, 8:30 to 9, by then it's gotten crowded, and they start forming a line specifically for legacy sabers.
Yeah, but that's why we were waiting in line. Was I wanted to hold Maul's saber.
Yes.
Because I'm a nerd, and I've never held
your favorite?
A good one in my hands before. Like, as a kid, we had the crappy Hasbro one. Mm-hmm. That was Hasbro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hasbro, and I mean, if you played with it as a child, that was Hasbro.
Yeah, that was...
Hasbro has had the rights since 1996, I believe.
I got hit with that lightsaber so many times. It was that one and Obi-Wan's. And
so, yeah, I mean, once we found that, honestly, we can buy all the legacy saber hilts we want. We already have 2 spare blades. We can interchange them as much as we want. So, no one will tell you that. Well, they might, but we're definitely telling you that. Save yourself some money. I mean, definitely if you're going that route, you want to collect, that's fine, but definitely save yourself some money. I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, there's no real reason otherwise, unless you really are adamant of displaying them with blades. Otherwise, honestly, I would just say get the Black Series. It's great quality. The blades don't remove, and honestly, the price on those are going to start going down because of the Galaxy's Edge sabers.
Yeah.
Right now, they're the same price.
Yeah, which is why I haven't bought a Maul saber yet.
Yeah. Right now they're the same price, same quality. It's just about the blades. So, I mean, if you're really adamant on having blades in every one, which can be a cool display piece, I'm not knocking it. It's just I'm not a fan of it. No. We have specific ones set up, and I'll show off that sometime. I think I posted a couple of pictures, but they have blades specifically because I want them to.
Yes, because we use them as lights.
Right, and so outside of that, I'm not a fan of constantly displaying with the blade because I'm the nerd, like, well, it's not ignited, it shouldn't have one. I mean, I'm just saying. If we're going to get technical.
Yeah, and another reason that our lightsabers are displayed as this is because mine is too heavy to go on a stand, and it has a rainbow tooth.
It's got this bit. It's not stand friendly.
Which is why I chose that, because I love the Rancor tooth.
And the stand that mine is on is actually from the Disney Parks sabers for Vader and Luke. So that's another thing is they come with wall mounts. They come with display stand. Like they got a lot going on. Yeah. It's really cool.
And not that you asked, but my Master Sword
is
over here.
There you go. The actually functional weapon in this house.
Right. That's my home security device.
And speaking of, so you can see we have changed our setup actually.
Yeah. And Francor's back.
Center shelf we definitely use to kind of reflect what we're talking about. So it's a lot of Galaxy's Edge stuff. That takes up most of the space, so there's not much else other than we got a little Dio there. I don't
This
know
is going to be great for audio listeners.
And then
We
above
the
that,
favorites.
yes. So what we decided to do was we were like, hey, because we've been slowly unpacking all of our stuff, we were like, hey, we've got all these things we love that we are needing space to display. And we had extra shelf space here that we weren't using to its fullest. So we decided to do that. So up top, you've got my favorites, technically. Because Jango to one side, Boba to the other. I'm pointing in the general direction. I don't have my glasses on, so everything looks like a blur. But then down here, you've got your stuff.
We've got my spider boy. My beautiful
got
Maul.
a bit of Maul.
We've got Leia, of course. This is not even my entire Leia collection.
No.
And then the Iggy. My sweet, sweet Iggy boys. We have IG-11 and IG-88 right next to each other. They're different, all right?
They are different.
And then behind Iggy is Jyn Erso, because she's a bouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you can probably see some of... We have... The lower part of this we use for all of our Star Wars books. So we've got all of our cross-sections, our reference guides, and as well as novels and all that stuff. So
as well a piece of your lunchbox collection.
Yes, because this is right between our desks, so whenever we're referencing something for our conversations and whatnot, which we do a lot of research for, when we get, detailed with our episodes. I mean, like, back when we were talking about the Death Star, we researched for that to make sure that we're, staying legit. We just reach over and grab that now because it's right there by our desk and everything. So,
and one of these days we're going to show you guys our pop collection. It is grown.
This is, we try not to generally play to either medium, YouTube, or podcast, but
this is a fully visual.
Well,
segment.
no, we described it. I mean, they know what's on the shelves. They don't got to see it necessarily, but it's definitely something you should see.
You see. IG-11 has this little.
Okay, we're not getting that
here,
technical. We're not
and
getting
he's
that
a little
technical.
bit darker, but IG-88, he's got this thing here. His head looks more like a Hershey Kiss. Hi.
So.
We also went to Uga's Cantina.
But yeah, and we went to, which was nice. We got right by Rex. The music was great. It was really chill, surprisingly.
It was. If it wasn't for all of the people, I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit.
Well,
more.
I mean, yeah. I was able to enjoy. We got our little spot at the. We were at the bar, which was really nice.
We weren't expecting that.
As much as it. I mean, it was standing room, but I was fine with that because it was really. I mean, you get to see a lot of detail. The cantina looks like a cantina. It was really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just so much to just enjoy about it all.
And for family folks, they have a lot of non-alcoholic options.
Yeah, I mean, anything you can get virgin. You don't have to get, don't feel like you can't go to the cantina if you don't drink. Yeah. I mean, everything is themed, and you don't miss out by being a D&D. No. If that's your role, or if you're just,
I'm a bard.
If you're just about that life. Yeah. Star Wars Disney's great. It's fantastic.
Disney's great too.
If you can make a way. I mean, Galaxy's Edge isn't going anywhere. Don't feel like you have to do it right now. Take the time. Do it right. Do it well. But definitely do it. So that's... I know we had other notes on The Rise of Skywalker. We're talking about it next week. We'll get there.
The Internet's baby. Not Baby Yoda. Clone Wars. Season 7.
Yes.
The Internet's baby.
That transition, though.
Sorry. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you.
I'm so ready.
So is most of the internet.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Somebody posted a meme of... And I shared it on our Facebook. I don't think I shared it on our Twitter. It was the Ratatouille guy, the food critic. And he was eating season 7. Oh. And it flashed back to him as a kid eating the movie... The Clone Wars movie, and it's meant to be this thing of just that moment he has of nostalgia. Just oh my gosh.
Which, can we just say, one of the best moments in filmmaking. Good movie.
That is exactly how I felt just with the trailer. I cannot, and it's so weird because, we just did our rewatch. Mm-hmm. You can listen to those episodes. So it feels like it's not as long until you put in perspective, it's 2020. The movie debuted in
Yeah.
2008.
I went back and I re-listened to our episodes about the 2003 Clone Wars
2009,
series.
sorry.
Yeah. And I was just like...
I had to correct myself because somebody out there in the universe already did it. I felt
Yeah.
a disturbance, so I had to do it.
Because you do it.
Yeah.
You do it all the time.
I do it all the time.
When we listen to
I feel like
podcasts.
internet personalities just randomly are just like, because I'm correcting them.
Oh, it's the worst when we
Yeah,
watch
11
Game Grumps.
years. It really sinks in at a certain point. Like, oh, we rewatched, but that was still old.
That was before
Like,
we were
holy
together.
cow. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, oh my gosh. So, no, I got those feels with this trailer.
Yeah.
Instantly. Pretty instantly. And also, this is just an intense trailer.
Yes. It's like a circus fire. It's intense. We're back. So how will we be covering the Clone Wars Season 7 is a question that is on everyone's mind. Right? Kevin?
What? Good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is mostly us just not knowing and putting it out to the public because we don't know. We are currently still in season 1 of our Rebels rewatch. That starts back next week, by the way, in case anybody's chomping at the bit. Those are actually really popular on our show, so I'm sure some people have been looking forward to it.
Rebels is awesome.
So we've got a long ways to go with that. We'll probably be done with that by after summer. So with that taking up most of our plate, when this releases, I guess the hope would be that we can do what we have yet to be able to do with like the Mandalorian and whatnot, and just do episode by episode breakdowns.
Yes.
Separately. Over on our YouTube channel, because we cannot add in a whole nother. I mean, even though it'd be a limited run, it'd be 12 episodes. It wouldn't be that bad. Well, I don't know. I mean, hit us up. Let us know the demand. If it's really, if people are really into it, we will do a full separate rewatch. We'll make it happen. Otherwise,
Well, it won't be a rewatch. It'll just be a watch.
Well, yeah, watch. But we'll do a limited run watch.
Yeah.
And we'll have, for a limited run, the return of Nerd Herder Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll just treat it as something separate. We'll just put it straight on YouTube. But if there's podcast people, we do have the 2 avenues of the show. If there's podcast people that would be really antsy to get that and not have to switch platforms and go to YouTube, I know there's a couple of folks like that. If there's enough demand, we'll put it on both platforms. We'll do it simultaneously like we do with the main show and everything. But as far as our Rebels rewatch, that remains podcast only. So if you're watching this on YouTube, recognize that we have other stuff we do that's not on YouTube that you can get to. But,
and speaking of Rebels, something that we did not mention when we talked about the holocrons is that there is a Easter egg. When you
from the Bendu.
From the Bendu.
So when you...
Still don't know who that is.
When you join the Sith and Jedi holocron, much as they do...
as they do.
Then you get balance. You get the voice of the Bendu, the great Tom Baker.
Insert
the best
clip
doctor.
Here.
Are you telling me what to do?
Yeah.
And it's only the one line, unfortunately, but it's really great. It
makes me incredibly
anytime
curious.
Tom Baker enters my life in any form or fashion, good God.
We got a Tom Baker scarf for a wedding present a few years back. It was amazing. It's so
next
long.
to David Tennant, my favorite, and just such a great guy, and such a perfect choice for the character of the Bendu for sure.
And an advocate for curly hair people everywhere.
Yep.
Recognize.
I'm
not gonna uncover, but
don't reveal my shame. But yes, yes,
I love
Bendu,
your hair.
Rebels, that's cool. Tom Baker just recently celebrated his birthday, actually.
We're on our way. Yes, I haven't seen what it is yet.
What?
I don't know what the Bendu is.
Oh, the Bendu? Yeah.
I know it's a space moose.
I don't know.
You know.
I don't know.
You know.
I don't know.
Oh. Cut that out.
Obviously.
I'm trying to collect before getting started on the next talking point. Yeah, shit. Okay. So, a thing that you did was while I was at work a few days, you played Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes.
Almost to completion.
Pretty dang close. Gosh, get off my case. It's really hard.
That wasn't a dig. I said close to completion.
Yeah, well, you didn't have to just throw my shame out there so everybody knows. Gosh.
Ding ding. Shame.
I finished the game, yes.
You finished the game.
I am a completionist, so I'm currently working on 100%.
Because you're a nerd.
And it's really hard, I promise. Gosh dang it.
Meanwhile,
we've also one
Crossing.
of our teens has it and has been playing it, and every now and then we'll like go back and forth of just like, did you do the thing? And it's just like it's really great. I love the game. I did not expect to love it as much. I was properly enthralled. I enjoyed it. I expected all that.
Of course.
The story though, because I constantly knock, oh gosh, another survivor of Order 66, another Jedi. Like I do enjoy that type of story. It's just it gets to a point for me.
Yeah.
Where it's just a little much when you put it on repeat constantly.
Well, and we have that set up at the end. Well, not at the end of Revenge of the Sith, but we have it in many pieces of media. You know, Jedi survived Order 66.
Yeah,
we don't know how many.
And
we don't know
that's
who,
the thing. Like, I get, okay, there's a lot of Jedi. It would have been nearly the odds of them getting everyone the first time around. Like, I get that. The Inquisitorius makes sense. The Purge Troopers makes sense. All of that, it does. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying it's exhausting, especially when there's not a lot of breathing room. It'd be completely different if we told that kind of story, moved on to something after Return of the Jedi, moved on to something in the prequels, and then came back and then did, another, like, but it just, there's a lot of it. There is. And now, the setup of me being just nonplussed in general about the layout of the story we were going to experience, I was blown away. Because the way they managed to tell this very familiar story was phenomenally new. It was also just very intense because it was very character driven. Unlike in the past where it's much more, because the medium is either comics, book, or TV show, the way you tell those kinds of stories, those kinds of intense stories, is tweaked by your audience, your platform, all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. It was actually kind of bold of them to choose to go so narratively with a game. Yeah. But I think that's reflective of just game culture in general. It's much more about the story. It's much more about the characters nowadays. And that's prevalent in this. And I think that's a really great blend of let's take a familiar, easy to tell story, but let's go intense with character development and character plot. Literally every character is meaningful and I love them. And the story itself, about halfway through got very predictable, but I wasn't there for what I knew was going to happen. I was there for how we were going to get there. Yes. You know, it's much more the journey rather than the destination. I knew in the end what was going to happen.
Yeah, and how was the open world element?
That's part of the hard part, my dude. That's the part that flubs my gills. It just jives my turkey. It rustles my Jimmy. Gosh dang it, because there's so much. Yeah. And the intent, the freaking map, the hollow maps are garbage. Okay? Yeah. If I can complain about anything, it's about the freaking garbage maps, because I, at any given point, don't know where I am. Because am I on the third floor? Am I on the second floor? I don't know. I've got, like, oh my gosh, like, and I get, you're probably like, oh, I played it and I'm just gonna go. Do not tell me how to do it. I know how to do it. It just doesn't work. It's freaking annoying when you're looking for one freaking treasure chest left to get 100% on a freaking planet. And gosh. Oh my gosh. It's so annoying.
Cameron Monaghan's pretty cool though.
He's a great guy. He's a shining star of this whole game.
He's precious.
Like,
redheads of the world unite, honestly.
This is the most weird split I've ever had. I mean, it's usually so singular. Story, game, I love it. This is such a weird...
Your hand movements are a little aggressive.
It's so weird because I'm not used to just falling so in love with the story and the characters, but having issues with gameplay.
Yeah.
The gameplay is different. It's very different. In some ways, it's very familiar to what I love a lot, like Ratchet and Clank platformy, treasure hunty, and puzzle solving. It's got a lot of those features, but it's also got a lot of features of recent games, most comparably like Uncharted and stuff like that. It's got a lot of things that are commonplace and new. I mean, it's EA, okay? EA is across the board. They're your average man's game developer, regardless of what you think. They make a lot of games a lot of people enjoy, okay? Get off the case. And they've changed a lot about Battlefront. Stop being so mean to Ben.
Yeah, stop being mean to Ben.
It's weird how much, because I'm from that LucasArts era of, this is not a shoot 'em up game. This is a Star Wars game. Like, you could not in a million years compare Republic Commando to Halo. Two freaking different things by two freaking different developers. This is the first Star Wars game, gameplay wise, I can compare to many commonplace popular games. And that's not a knock, that's just reality. That's why it doesn't work for me. I don't play new games. I play the same old PS1, PS2 games over and over and over and over. So me jumping to 2019 game mechanics, holy cow.
I'm impressed. You're doing very well.
That is why I got so freaking frustrated and had so much difficulty. This is a hard game. Mm-hmm. I enjoy that for the aspect that it took me much longer than it should have to play. It took patience. It's the first game where I can't just plow through with familiar mechanics. I have to learn the game.
Yeah.
I have to learn the characters. I have to be willing to try and fail. It's very different than a lot of my approach with a lot of games because, again, I'm from very simplistic old school games where it's a 1, 2, 3 hit 'em up kind of just you're done thing. Like, if you learn one thing in the beginning tutorial, that will win you the final boss fight. It's not as intense as nothing in your fight with the ninth sister prepares you for the fight with the second sister.
Yeah.
At all.
I like that.
You have to fight them to learn their style, and it's specific to that character, which is character driven, and it's cool, but it's also frustrating. Mm-hmm. It's also different than what I'm used to. So, like, for every good thing I have to say about the story and the characters, there's equal amounts of things that I have to say of frustration and difficulty. That said, I will finish this game, I will replay it, and I will enjoy it, but
I will bring balance to the Force.
Right, but only in 45-minute increments, because after that I just get irritable and whatnot. But good game. It's a
very good game. In other game news, March 20th, 2020, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Get ready for it. I crave that Nintendo serotonin. Anyway, so we watched The Mandalorian all the way through as it was airing. We watched the first episode a couple days after it came out. But
No, we watched it the morning of.
You're right. We did do that.
I mean, it was intense because it was just like it was right before work in a busy time, and so we were just digesting it we had to rewatch in order to form for our first. We have one episode up of our review of the first episode, the first chapter. We had to rewatch again. We watched it actually a couple of times, but
we did.
The first time it was literally just like,
Iggy.
It was just a lot of that. So the second time was actually like, okay, got sense. I'm paying attention now.
Took notes.
Like you weren't able. I wasn't able to process the first time.
No. No.
That said, no. But we kept up with it. That was actually a saving grace. That was in a time when we were so busy, so stressed, and so overwhelmed, and not connected to something we love so much.
Having something consistent.
Right. Every week we had that to look forward to, and that was really, really special and really nice.
And it gave me like a connecting point with my boss, because like that.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Yeah. Every Friday, I would just walk into his office and be like, "It's Mando Day."
Yeah, like sorry, but that just made me there's like became this just impromptu underground Mando culture at
Yeah.
work. And I somehow became the epicness of it. And like everybody from the guy watching it with his teenage daughter to the person my age watching it with their girlfriend to like just the guy that watched it because it's so cool. Like
Yeah.
there were so many times I'd go to the office and just randomly be able to have a conversation. And that
Just
was
like the knowing Mando look.
right. And that like that's that stuff where it's just like we didn't get to do what we wanted. We didn't get to do it on the show and with you guys yet. But we did get to have those experiences, and being able to build off of that again in a time that was very difficult was really, really nice, and it was something really cool to look forward to on a weekly basis. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much just fully diving in and binging. Like I don't think it would have marinated as well.
And I will say, mini character review for me. You guys know that one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars is IG-88. Well, you know if you watched this.
If you look at the shelf.
If you look at the shelf.
A, B, C.
That's 11.
D. That's a reference, by the way.
Yes, it is. But I latch on to droid characters much easier than I latch on to human characters for some reason.
Gosh, that episode 7 though.
Oh.
I love so much that came before episode 9.
It was
By
perfect.
the way, episode 7 of the Mando came before episode 9 of Star Wars. Numbers were being thrown around. I feel like I had to specify.
It was perfect. But I
I
latched on to IG-11 so hard.
Well, and the reason I
which is
just,
good
like,
because he's a nurse and protector.
mention that is because, like, yes, instantly hooked in. I knew he was coming back, but the way that comeback and that monologue by Kuil about the nature of things and all that, like that was just intense and poignant and just
put into words why I love droids so much.
Absolutely. Well, and it can go so far. It can go so deep, and I mean, you know,
and then
it's so meaningful.
And then in episode 8,
yeah,
leggy droid. Leggy boy.
Leggy boy? What? Oh, yeah, you're the astromech with arms and legs. Yes.
I love him so much.
Yeah, there was a very visceral reaction of
was
just
so
like,
happy.
wait, is that what?
Leggy boy.
What?
That's his name.
Yeah.
By the way.
I named him Charon.
You did. You did name him Charon.
I don't know what he actually is called, but
Leggy boy.
yeah, probably not that. But so that said, though, yeah. We did chapter 1. And if you go back and watch that, golly, were we dead. But we had to get it out.
So tired.
That was the beginnings of, hey, let's try and get this done. Let's try and do what we said we would do.
Yeah.
And you can see, I think, and hear and feel in that why we had to just, all right, hang on, let's just hold off. We have that out if you want to get our opinions on the first chapter. We will be going back over the next month I'd say. It may not be as deep and intense as we originally were going to do, just because I mean we are a little ways off, but hopefully we'll still be relevant enough that everybody will be into checking it out. But we will give each episode its own attention because we have a lot to say about each episode. Each one is such a unique. It's such a connected story, but it's also such an individual story. You can take any one of those episodes and get so much out of it. Yeah. And we want to give time for that. We want to be able to properly do that. So you can keep an eye out. That will be a YouTube only thing. Yeah. But it will be out there if you want our take on the various chapters and whatnot.
Overall, though.
Yeah, I mean overall. So digesting everything over. Favorite moments?
Favorite moments.
Highlights were definitely chapter 3, the finale of that, where Mando's rescued by all the other Mandalorians.
Yes.
Already mentioned episode 7 and 8, just in their entirety, are very that was the Mando show I expected. Yes. That was the intense, action-packed, sentimental. Like it was cool. It was just a lot. I really enjoyed. I believe it's chapter 4, the Seven Samurai episode.
That one was amazing.
That one was really, really, really cool.
So good.
Really well done. I love all the humor of everything. I really enjoyed the space prison one too. I hated Bill.
Bill Burr.
Is it Bill Burr?
Yeah.
Okay. I hated his character. You're supposed to though, so
You're
it did its
supposed to
job.
hate all of those characters.
Don't read that as I hate. I don't know the guy.
We don't hate Bill Burr because we don't know Bill Burr.
Yeah, I know he's a comedian. I think that's what made him really good at his job, was just that very just a guy kind of personality. He was really able to come in and just be like, oh, I'm the one guy in the universe that can find a reason to hate the Mando, sure. Because goodness gracious.
Yeah.
The episode as a whole I really enjoyed. They did a good job with Bill Burr's character though, in terms of...
You're saying it like Bilbo, and
Bill
it
Burr.
make me fun.
Yeah, Bill Burr.
It's funny.
But yeah, I mean, you're supposed to hate his character. You're supposed to hate Joffrey. It's that stuff.
Yeah.
It's really well done because I hate him. I got his comeuppance.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fine. That was also just a fun episode. Tom Clancy showed up.
Tom Clancy?
Yeah.
Clancy Brown, babe.
Oh, who's Tom Clancy?
Tom Clancy wrote like the Sniper Cell movies, Splinter Cell games and books. That's Tom Clancy.
Okay.
Anyway, 2 stormtroopers sitting on bikes.
Oh yeah, that was
shooting
fun.
Stuff.
I want Star Wars chips now.
Right?
Star Wars chips with those guys would be great. Yes, I know they punched Baby Yoda. Get over it. Like, goodness gracious.
He was fine.
He was fine.
Yeah, nurse and protect. That whole
And they got their
fantastic.
comeuppance.
Exactly.
So just move on. They were funny.
Seeing Pedro Pascal's face. People
Yeah,
were
you had
upset
such a
about
thing.
it. People were so upset about it.
Okay, yeah, you weren't upset, but you had a thing.
So I know exactly what Pedro Pascal looks like. He was my favorite character in Game of Thrones. I actually stopped watching the show after he died because
Was
of
he
that.
in it even that much?
Yes, that whole.
I thought he was in like
4.
2 episodes.
No. Well, yeah.
I didn't pay attention much.
He's very funny. He's a cool dude. And knowing all of this, when his helmet comes off and it's Pedro Pascal, I was like, okay.
Right, like,
That's
just
Pedro
wait, what?
I don't know what it is.
I just had a reaction of just like, wow, they're doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of that in season 1, though. I mean, we talked about that in our first episode rewatch.
Yeah.
But
I was incredibly upset because I thought that he was going to die.
Really?
First. Yeah.
Well, season 2 was confirmed.
I know, but like...
Wow, good
still,
job,
I'm
Jon
upset,
Favreau. You made
right?
her forget actual news.
Jon Favreau can make me forget a lot of things.
Like Jon Favreau's watching this.
I love you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, overall, just a lot to love.
You experienced all of my emotions.
Yeah.
During
I don't
episode 8.
remember any one particular lesser episode, and that's not
they were all
me
awesome.
being diplomatic and not wanting to pick one. Like,
No,
it's legit.
We really liked everything. Like one of our favorite episode. One of our favorite episodes was the episode 4, specifically because of the ATST.
Oh yeah,
And how monstrous it looked and how cool it was.
Oh yeah, well, and that was the first. I don't use this word in the proper context, but bigger scale. Like, it felt bigger than the
stakes.
others. Like, it is definitely more than what we'd seen up until that point. The most comparable thing was the finale of chapter 3.
Yes.
Other than that, been small time, small scuffle, little conflict things. So this was big in terms of the rest of the scope.
Yeah.
Involved a lot of pyrotechnics, a lot of great, well done effects, a lot of really cool character direction.
A lot of memes.
It really did well to draw me out of because I was as soon as I saw the shot in the trailer, I was like, you've got to be kidding. Another freaking 7 Samurai thing.
But it was so great.
It was much like Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where I was expecting to enjoy how they did it, not so much what they were doing. They turned around and were able to do something fresh enough and new enough. And I think it's also because they focused character-wise on the Mando's experiences during that kind of oasis time I think that's what spun me out of just like, oh, well, that's actually kind of unique now.
And we got what may be the cutest gif, just the sipping broth.
Oh, yes,
like,
the best part.
That was the best part.
The amount of memes, the memeableness of Yoda, Baby Yoda, yogurt.
He's so
it's
fresh.
amazing. His ability to take over the internet.
Yeah.
Rivaled only by Palpatine's ability to take over the Senate, clearly.
He am the Senate.
He am the Senate.
He am the internet.
Yeah,
like how immediately when we talked about Palpatine... It was
like, T-Rex arms. Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll be giving each episode its own attentions and everything like that.
Its own
but
individual love.
Yeah.
And sprinkles.
Just because it definitely deserves it, and it's the first of its kind. I mean, it's so unique and special, and it's such new territory. And we have so much to say. It would be a disservice.
So many doors.
Yeah, it would be a disservice to not start those conversations. Sure, we're a month and a half late, but
whatever.
I mean, we're not really.
Let's take a nap.
We're not really doing. When we do these, if we put up any more Jedi Fallen Order stuff, anything we do, it's less to stay relevant. It's just to have those positive, joyful conversations. It's more for what we get out of it rather than relevancy or anything. Yeah. Because
at the end of the day, we'd be still having this conversation if there was not a microphone here.
Exactly. And I think that was what was so defeating of everything, because it was just this idea of, man, everybody else is talking about these things, and I just wish we could sit down and do that. And we can do that anytime. We're talking about Tross next week. It's much later. It's a month later. Like, so what? That's fine. Yeah. We're still talking about it. There's this pressure, and maybe you content create and you feel that same pressure, or maybe you have no idea, but maybe somewhere else in life you understand what it's like of everybody else is doing this thing. I have to keep up. I have to perform just like that. Just get out of that and do what you love, do what makes you happy, do it on your own time. Obviously, there are certain things you can't use that as an excuse for, like don't procrastinate.
No, do not procrastinate.
But don't overexert yourself trying to keep up with a flow that you put on yourself. We were projecting that on ourselves and on the show. Yeah. We have to talk about these things because they just happened and everybody else is doing it and we're a podcast and that's what it... Here's the thing, like, if we don't do those things, yeah, we'll probably never be huge. We'll never be probably the next Force Center or Resistance broadcast. That's fine though, but because we're not doing it for scale and relevancy. We're doing it for joy and positivity and fun, and sometimes education, sometimes counseling, like not legit, like, but like, these are all the things that we love and enjoy and discuss on our own that we are opening up and sharing. And the reception to that, who we do hear from, the small audience that we do have that we resonate with, that's far better than anything we can get from adhering to an algorithm or adhering to a model or anything like that. And so we might be late on. I mean, we're just now doing Rebels, and we're not doing that just because. We're doing that because it's a really great show. There's a lot you now, in retrospect, are like, well, I guess I got to watch it now. Yeah. And much like Clone Wars, where that was a genuine, like, you're giving it a chance to love this thing you didn't like. Rebels is another opportunity of, while you didn't dislike, you now have a reason to be interested. We're not doing that because, well, I mean, Clone Wars was partly because new season. Yeah. Was it? No, we didn't even know about that, did we?
It was announced while we were doing the rewatch.
Really?
Yeah.
Did we know about that then?
No.
I don't think so. I think we were already in the show.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and check. I think we were already in the show. I don't know.
I think so. I think it was like...
I don't think we knew about it that early.
It's got to be like a few months, weeks.
I'm pretty sure. I think we did that purely because by that point you were getting interested. Yeah. And you had never done a proper watch. You didn't give the chronological, like,
You were naming characters, and I was like, who's that?
Yeah, there was just a lot of, you got to watch the Clone Wars. And I've done that with Rebels. And because of the Clone Wars, that's influenced your take on Rebels now. which has been really great and positive to see and everything. But like it's for experience, it's for joy. It's not for clicks and views and listens and everything. That stuff's great. Like, you know, last year, right about like April, not even April, like right about March, we went like halfway down in number of listeners, and that's depressing. Like, when you're creating something you love and people are loving it alongside you, and then all of a sudden not, for some reason, you know, that's really hard. And like, that was a really big hit for us early on, because at that point we were still also just trying to figure out what was best.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've had to grow to a point to be just like, let's just do what we want to do. Not to disregard our audience, not to shut down our audience. But the hope is that if we do what we love, which was the point in starting this, then we'll find the people that love it as well.
Yeah.
We'll find the audience that's meant for us, no matter how many or who that is. And so we might talk about stuff late. We might not talk about stuff when everybody else is doing it. We also might, but we're always going to keep it about joy and positivity first, relevancy and growth second, if even third or fourth. Like, it's not super high on our priorities. Mm-hmm. If we never grow past an audience of 100 and something, cool. At least that many people find us interesting. You know, at least that many people we've created a community with. I'd rather an intense 100 audience than kind of dissociated 1,000.
Yeah.
Or so forth. So that said, Mando's coming. Because we want to. There's other stuff. If you read our Patreon post, which was public, with some of the details of like this episode and so forth, we have other things we are planning, and it's because we want to do it, and not necessarily because it's going to make us more popular or anything. And we're looking forward to it. We're going to keep that close and quiet for now, because we have a tendency of getting excited and oversharing and overpromising and having to pull back. So we'd rather get stable in this new 5th season of the show, get a good month in or so, and get things figured out and back on track, and then address doing a couple of other cool new things and everything. Like we said, next week we're going to talk about The Rise of Skywalker. This week, sorry, it got longer than we thought. Should have known.
There's just too much.
We are working to make the episodes more condensed and digestible. Our patron, Doug, keeps me very on track about that. We are trying. We had like a 30-minute conversation about how short this episode was going to be, and then we just got to having fun. So, sorry. Hopefully it was good. But that said, you know, might see varying degrees in episodes. But next week we are talking about The Rise of Skywalker. And then we are starting a series of episodes where we kind of talk about character journeys through the sequel trilogy. It started with wanting to talk about specific characters, wanting to talk about the sequel trilogy as a whole, and then eventually just became so big that we had to break it up in terms of wanting to get to everything we want to get to, because we don't want to highlight. It's very easy to talk about the journeys of Rey and Ben, but we don't want to leave certain characters out that also have a lot of meaningful stories, not just in general, but to us. Like there's certain character moments of Finn, Poe, Rose, Han, Luke that are super important that we don't want to leave out. And we might not be doing the character journey of Eloasti, but we're going to fit what we can into those deep dives to be able to talk about, okay, what meaning has the sequel trilogy added to us from our perspective? And we share that for multiple reasons. Number one, of just sharing our take. It's not that we're trying to say this is literally the journey this character went on. Do not fight me. No, it's not. It's gonna all be from our perspective of, hey, I was going through this and this meant this to me and this is what I needed and this is what that said. It's gonna be from our personal perspective, and it's also gonna be, again, to start conversations. of, hey, we saw it this way. What did you think? And all that kind of stuff. So if you have favorite characters from the sequel trilogy, if you have favorite character moments, we're going to be talking about it episode by episode. So one's going to be the Force Awakens, one's going to be The Last Jedi, and one is going to be The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So, look forward to that. And again, you just add us, just message us on Facebook. You don't have to wait for us to put it out there. If you listen, you're like, oh man, I want to do that. Just hit us up.
Talk to us.
It's really easy.
Yeah, and if you want us to talk about Aloasti, please do.
I actually talked at length about Aloasti and most of his species in
All
the
he is
first
known is for being a beastly boy.
Oh my gosh. He made up most of my Jedi Fallen Order episode 1 discussion.
Yeah.
Because his friend, Cal's friend Prof, is one of his species. I can't remember what it's called. But they're all named after Beastie Boys songs, and it's amazing.
Fantastic.
I love stuff like that. But
It's so funny.
But yes, like just hit us up. I loved when Rose did this, or this moment for Finn meant this to me. Like, it doesn't have to be a major character. That's the whole point. We wanted time to really broaden the scope of
Let's talk about Claude.
even little ones. Huh?
Let's talk about Claude. I don't know.
You're being fun. Claude. It's
don't-
just Claude.
I thought it was Claude.
It's really straightforward. I mean, if you ask him, he
Cloud.
pronounces it Claude. But
Cloud.
that, like, he makes
It's Cloud Strife.
he makes two sounds in the whole movie. One is and the other is
How was he fixing the Falcon?
just smacking it with his face. He's got no hands.
It has to be. Like, it just...
I love Claude, though, for all his 2 scenes. I don't
Right.
even care. He was funny.
He was very
I just
funny.
love the moment where it's just like, hey, did you fix that? And like,
Also, everything in that leaked poster turned out to be true.
right. Holy cow. we
Let's
were
talk
wrong.
about that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Wax.
But so those are some of the things, and then we'll try and break up the deep conversations and all that stuff with some fun episodes as well. We have planned. For instance, we talked about having things ready. Like, we had a full script built for 10 Ways to Die on Tatooine, which was part of a series we started. You can go back and listen to 10 Ways to Die on the Death Star. That was something we did because it was fun and we wanted to, and that was one of the first times we were just like, you know what? Nobody's probably going to like this, but let's do it.
We liked it.
We liked it, so we're doing it again. We worked our butts off to make an episode and then never got to record it. So we're going to finally do that. That'll be up later in February. We try and... Because we can get intense, talk about deep stuff, and especially, just forewarning, a lot of the things that resonate with me are deep, depressive things about characters. I like character falls and character pits more than I like character victories because I just reflect and resonate in that. I'm inspired by seeing the fall of other inspiring heroes. It's a weird thing to chill out, but that's where I get inspiration. I'm inspired by seeing others be human.
Yeah.
Human.
I like it when R2 goes beep boop.
So, that said, I'm pretty sure at points our conversation's going to get,
It's going to get real.
intense. Have your teapots ready. And so we want to break that up with a little bit of joy and fun. So
Yes.
we will try and insert that. Other than that, just hit us up if you've got anything else Star Wars. It doesn't even have to be on topic. Just randomly you want to say, hey, look at this. Fine, cool. We do that.
Alderaan was an inside
People hit
job.
us up all the time, message us, and add us a lot, especially on Twitter, sometimes on Instagram, not really on Facebook, but on those, like, just randomly, just like, hey, here's this thing, and I thought of you, or just like, hey, isn't this funny, or like, just all that, like, all of that is more than fine.
Yeah. Also, just talk to us.
Yeah. So,
We love you.
Find us on those social medias of Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram if you haven't already. We're very active all across the board. And it's also a way to find regular updates about the show and everything else we've got going on.
Yeah. Links in the description.
Yep, links in the description.
Yep.
If this is on your favorite podcast platform, please consider reviewing wherever possible, especially iTunes. Most of our listeners are on iTunes, according to our stats. So please, if you would. Yeah. We've had a couple of negative reviews.
Subscribe.
Don't know what that's about. Some just nasty Quarren boys just muddying things up. But that means we could use your positive love and affection. And also it just helps us become visible to other people. So and also it's really nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of there's a lot of reviews that we have gotten where it's just one of those like, oh my gosh, wow, the feels.
Thank you.
So it's also just for us. It's just for the fact that we enjoy that.
Yeah.
So we would love to see your review and hear from you about what the show means to you. And also on YouTube, you can like and share there, and make sure you subscribe for more if you did enjoy it. Yeah.
Ring the bell.
Just splatter that like button
Smash
and just smother that
like
subscribe button. Just do it.
Put the bell
And
between
then,
your knees.
other
and
than
smoosh it.
that, that's kind of it. We do have a Patreon. I've
Yes.
mentioned that. If you love what we do, think that we deserve something for it, thank you, first of all. You can head over to our Patreon. We got a lot of goodies for starting at $1 and up. And it also just to help support the show. A lot goes in, from everything from research to equipment and just time and all of that stuff. And basically, I mean, the reason it can take so much is because we give so much to it, and it, in order to be done well, is like a part-time job, but it's also one we're very passionate about. So it's going to happen regardless. Your support just means that we're spurred on and encouraged along the way. And support comes in many forms for sure. If you can't give, totally understandable. We just love to interact with you. But if you are able to give, and if you think we are worthy, then we will gladly accept all your Imperial credits. So, and also, we're trying to send our animals to college.
Yeah.
Because they're annoying.
And now we have a dog
Yeah.
that we have to send to college. And
Well, he's got to go to preschool first.
He needs it.
Yeah. So, if you want our animals in school, if you want them to be
Teach
good
a
little
dog to
beastie
read.
boys, then consider giving to our Patreon page. But other than that, I think that's kind of it. This has gone way longer than expected, but
So long.
you've been without us for 2 months. You can deal with it. Next week will hopefully be a little bit better. Probably not. But we'll see. Nonetheless, just hope you enjoyed, and we will be back in the next one. In the meantime, I've been your herd leader, John Wayne.
And I've been your mom, Megan.
And this has been the Nerd Herder Main Show.
We haven't done this in a while. I don't know how to...
Goodbye.